Hi guys, welcome to Origin. So before I start this video, I want to say that at the moment I'm uploading my response to NullPlum99. So, whatever happens in the comment section of that video, whatever people say, I don't have any knowledge of it at the time of making this video. And it talks about ideas that this video addresses ideas that I brought up in that video, so if anything comes to light that changes my mind since then, I'm just going to upload this one anyway. This is going to be the first in what I hope will be a series of videos called Not the Same. It's based on the idea that people's opinions change over time. Obviously, I'm no exception to that. I've uploaded hundreds of videos literally on YouTube, and some of them are out of date in terms of what I currently think, so I'm essentially, making an ownage video to myself. This one is going to be about the idea which I probably had the most emotional investment in out of any of the videos I ever made, in terms of the ideas expressed in that video, the Venus Project. I used to passionately support the idea. We see on YouTube that there are ideas that people defend in the face of any logical criticism, and they do that because they, I guess, part of their identity depends on their support for that idea. So you see it obviously with religion, we've dealt with that, but we've seen it also with feminism and Islam. People have got really into that. With me, it was always the Venus Project, so this is probably the issue that I would have been least logical about, or certainly would have been least open to seeing logical arguments criticising. I hope I've made sense there. Again, I'm having to read the screen, so I'm probably still on the Zeitgeist Movement's mailing list, which is, the idea that they propose is that the monetary system that exists at the moment will eventually crash and burn, and it will happen by the nature of the way that we carry out banking, specifically our fractional reserve system, whereby we keep, let's say, 10% of all the money that comes into a bank. It has to keep that behind just in case people withdraw from the bank, but otherwise they can loan the other 90% out. And if they loan that to another bank, then that 90%, they can loan out 90% of that. And that goes to 81% that's loaned out to another bank, and so on and so on. Eventually you could have up to, I think it's 9 times as much money in the general economy than actually exists, due to essentially this money being created out of nothingness by it being constantly loaned out, and banks saying they have that certain amount in reserve when they actually don't. It's a complicated idea. I'd be lying if I said I understand it completely to this day. Thankfully, my opinion in this video doesn't depend on that. It's more in terms of what happens should this crash happen. The idea is that people would seek a different system other than capitalism, one based on the Venus Project, which is, I guess, a kind of anarcho-communist implementation. They want to shy away from communism, but having spoken to people in the past about this idea, I can't see how you can't call it a communist system in some sense. I know why people don't want it to be associated with it. Obviously, the Soviet Union, they did a lot of horrible stuff, but that doesn't necessarily make the original idea of communism bad. It's just their interpretation didn't go down well. But the context for this idea is obviously completely different. Technology is seen as the saviour here. But I think where my opinion's changed is they've got it backwards. It's not the crash happens, then the Venus Project, and then it produces an abundance of resources and we live like kings. It's technology gets us to that stage first, right? And that the Venus Project doesn't really happen at all. Something different happens, probably something along the lines of the Singularity. But yeah, as for this market crash, well, obviously we had a market crash in 2008. We're in the process of recovering from it, now doing pretty well. Whether that will last, time will tell. But, you know, could happen again in the future, of course. I mean, it's happened many times in the past, but will an absolutely apocalyptic one, like the one they describe, happen? Who knows? But I think technology will save us either way. You don't need the Venus Project to intervene at all. But talking about this idea of being emotionally invested in a position, I think, you know, I've mentioned the Singularity again. This is probably the idea that's replaced the Venus Project as the one that I'm most emotionally invested in. The idea on a fundamental level just blows my mind. I'm excited about the possibilities. You know, I kind of want to see what the future turns out to be, what actually happens after it. So the idea that it couldn't happen, or there's some error in the logic in terms of, you know, will it happen, is something that, you know, kind of, you know, I kind of almost don't want to hear. But I think it's a good thing that I can admit that to myself and to everyone here. I think we should always be able to do that, and I would encourage people, as I have in the past in previous videos, to investigate your own emotional biases. You know, read into your own positions that you're deeply emotionally involved in. Try and get some perspective on it. You know, subject it to criticism, no matter how painful it is. And in the next video, I'm going to basically argue for why I think the Singularity will happen, and on something like, not necessarily following exactly along the lines of, but certainly in the same general ballpark as Ray Kurzweil's timeline of 2045. But yeah, in summary, you don't need the Venus Project to create abundance. You just need technology. And it might lead to the Singularity. And I like the idea, and I don't want to hear otherwise, but no doubt making these videos talking about the idea and just how, you know, absolutely mind-blowing it is, I'm bound to hear criticism of it. So, again, let me know what you think, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.